Good morning and welcome to Coffee Chats presented by Economic Alliance Snohomish County. I'm Alyssa Jackson, Program Director at Snohomish STEM, powered by EASC, and I'm excited to moderate today's discussion, Growing Local Talent, Apprenticeships as a Key to Workforce Development. A big thank you to today's presenting sponsors, the Port of Everett and Snohomish County PUD, for supporting this conversation and our region's workforce development. Apprenticeships are creating clear, hands-on pathways into family wage careers while giving employers a direct way to build the skills they need. Our panel brings perspectives from K-12 pathways, union training, utilities, aerospace, and advanced manufacturing, as well as regional industry partnerships. So please join me in welcoming our panelists. Matt Poischbeg, Director of Advanced Manufacturing Skills Center, or AMSC, located at Edmonds College, which offers short-term, high-impact training programs designed to equip students with the practical skills needed for aerospace and manufacturing jobs. Welcome, Matt. Councilmember Nate Nehring, Snohomish County Council and representative of the Regional Apprenticeship Pathways, or RAP program, helping bring together schools, industry, and labor to build a countywide pre-apprenticeship track for high school students. Welcome, Councilmember Nehring. Erin Williams, Regional Program Manager for Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee, or AJAC, where she manages employer engagement and program growth in Northern Washington for AJAC, advancing youth and adult apprenticeship opportunities across aerospace and advanced manufacturing. Welcome, Erin. Charlotte Murry, Executive Secretary Treasurer with Snohomish and Island County Labor Council, SICLC. That one added a few more letters to that one. Representing over 60 union affiliates in the region and advocates for equitable apprenticeships access, project labor agreements, and skilled worker pipelines in Snohomish and Island counties. And I know that's just one title of many that you wear. So welcome, Charlotte. And Julie Mainstone, Apprenticeship Program Administrator for Snohomish County PUD, helping coordinate craft training, staffing for workforce renewal, and outreach to students interested in utility career pathways. Welcome, Julie. And thank you all for being here today. We are going to move into our panel discussion right away. For those joining us on Zoom, please submit any questions you have in the chat, and we'll get to as many as we have time for. So up first, Councilmember Nehring. RAP connects high school students to registered apprenticeships. What's working to help students move from classroom experience to on-the-job learning? And where are you seeing the biggest wins on completion or placement?
Yeah, well, thanks, Alyssa. Great question. Appreciate you having me here. Excited to join this conversation. So the RAP program, the Regional Apprenticeship Pathways program, blends classroom instruction with hands-on experience. And so students start by learning the fundamentals of the trades in the classroom. That includes things like essential tools, techniques, safety practices. And then they apply that knowledge in the RAP Center workshop using the same equipment that you'll find on any construction site across the county. So students are regularly interacting with professional tradesmen and tradeswomen through guest presentations and job site field trips. And these experiences help students see how classroom learning directly connects to those real world careers out in the field. And so through this engagement, they're able to understand not just what they're doing, but why that learning matters. So, in traditional classrooms, and we can all remember this, students will often ask, when am I ever going to use this, in the real world? And that question rarely comes up in the RAP program because the program is intentionally designed to teach that practical, those workforce ready skills. So many students also show, improved performance in other classes after joining the RAP program because the staff at the program really emphasize the importance of completing all the high school graduation requirements. And so many students are continuing from year one in RAP to year two in RAP in order to refine their skills and master, advanced competencies. In fact, we have RAP students that have gone directly into the trades, RAP students who have gone to work for large companies like Boeing, gone into the military. Some have gone on to continue their education through college. So there's really a diverse set of career pathways following graduation from the program. And there's not one set trajectory for graduates, but the majority of them have gone on to put their skills to use in the building and construction trades.
Yeah, thank you. And I think I just wanted to add another component that I've personally seen. I think EAC has seen with the RAP students is it teaches a lot of the soft skills and the
Mhm.
kind of accountability skills, which are really hard to learn as a student. So yeah, they're great. Erin, let's shift to AJAC. AJAC runs youth and adult programs across manufacturing and aerospace. How do you design entry points like pre-apprenticeships or bridge programs so first-time learners can succeed?
Yeah, thank you. Also happy to be here. AJAC started with adult apprenticeship, registered apprenticeship programs in 2010, and we focused at that point primarily on like machining, maintenance, metal fabricators, but we were, aware that workforce pipelines were limited and continue to be. We're trying to help bridge that. By 2012 is when AJAC first developed and launched the state's first advanced manufacturing apprenticeship preparation program. So which was called Manufacturing Academy. This is about 8 to 10 week program offering solid foundational career pathway opportunities for job seekers, developing industry relevant skills such as blueprint reading, precision measuring, shop math, OSHA 10, some lean training, things like that. Groups tend to tour 2 to 3 manufacturing companies to gain more exposure during that program. They into various manufacturing settings, because it's very important to acknowledge and understand what a manufacturing setting is like, as it's different than other professional fields. And we provide resume assistance and interview prep, followed by our working with our career navigator. So then, this first program was developed, was held first at Bates College in Tacoma, but we've now offered this in over 5 locations across the state, running cohorts throughout the year. And just last summer in 2024, we launched the Snohomish County Manufacturing Academy, and employers have been chomping at the bit to work with me to tour these students, to meet and hire them, and many of them are going into apprenticeship. And then in 2017 is when we began offering our programs to high school students through our youth apprenticeship. And currently we partner with over 15 school districts across the state. Shout out personally to our partners at Snohomish Tech. That's who I work with on a regular basis, and I'm sure some of them are on this call. I've personally witnessed several youth apprentices mature and ultimately thrive, moving from the production technician program into the adult machinist or even tool and die. And they have 2 journey level certifications by the time of 24. So it's really important to provide career pathways for young people and to capture their interest early on. And then, of course, finally, we have great relationships with the community partners like WorkSource and Economic Alliance and WDCs. And we pride ourselves in really listening to the needs of our community, the demands of our employers and manufacturing employers, of course, that we work with across the state, and to create and provide programs to help bridge any of those needs.
Yes. I love that give the shout out to Snohomish Skills Center. I know they're connected to a lot of organizations offering the hands-on training. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, let's hear from you. AMSC's short-term job-focused trainings help reduce barriers. What supports like cost assistance, scheduling flexibility, or wraparound services have made biggest difference for learners?
Thank you, Alyssa. Good morning, everybody. Alyssa, real quick, since you know me for a while, for the ESC to put on this event today and put apprenticeships in the center of workforce development, I mean, that's super cool since I started this in 2013, and here we are. Yay!
You are. Yay. Yes.
Okay, so yes. Tuition support, is a big deal. And for instance, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, is a big deal for us to help our students to pay for their classes. Just a little bit of background: the Advanced Manufacturing Skills Center, part of Edmonds College, we're part of the college, but we're not part of the funding from the college. So our classes are charged by a fee to the student, and therefore we are self-funded. And in order for our students to go through this program, they have to find funding. And so many students are career changers, they're unemployed, or they're trying to find a way to eliminate their upfront cost, because once they go through the program, a job is almost guaranteed, and the payback of the fee is possible. And so we also look at, for instance, emergency grants for things like tools, testing fees, transportation, work boots, and other PPE, for instance. But then on top of that, scheduling flexibility is a big deal. Our programs are short, fast-paced, and they combine the lecture, which is online, with the hands-on lab. And so the students only come into our shop, as we call it, for the hands-on portion. The rest they're doing from home. And so, therefore, they're here only a few weeks of the 12-week completion, for instance, and that allows them to, have perhaps other responsibilities. Some of our students have second jobs to fund the program, and as they restart and re-enter their new career, so to speak, they want something to go through as fast as possible. Besides that, we do, of course, case management and help advising them with other services like childcare, transportation, or housing. We work with WorkSource, DHHS, local nonprofits like Cares of Washington, LEDI, and other nonprofits for food assistance, rental help, mental health help, and those types of things are for certain folks extremely important to make this switch into their new careers. Our full-time student services coordinator, Cindy Fisher, she also helps with career coaching, like resume writing, financial support, interview prepping, and other job ready skills. And so overall, I would say tuition relief, flexibility in scheduling, and strong wraparound services are the key to open these doors. And ultimately, it boils down to employer connections at the end, and to get people into jobs as soon as possible.
I love that. Employer connections. Yes, that's definitely what's underscoring the whole conversation today of apprenticeships, which is something that's a little bit different from other training and programs. And I know that some of those the interview skills, the interview practicing, and all of those wraparound supports that you offer are critical to helping the students to go get those job placements afterwards. So thank you for sharing that. Charlotte, welcome. From the labor perspective, how do unions and apprenticeship coordinators make these programs more visible and accessible, particularly for women, youth, and career changers? Are you muted? Oh, I think we might have an all mute. Could our host unmute Charlotte, please? There we go.
Thank you for having me today. When we're working in these spaces, we are intentional around reaching women, youth, and career changers. A prime example, I mean, as it seems to be a little bit of a theme today, is really kind of focusing in on our youth and sharing those experiences early on so that it gives them a better perspective of what those opportunities are. For us, there is an example with the council's trade up program, where when we were putting on our trade up events for our high school students, we are working with the CTE directors and counselors to make sure that everyone is included, even if they've shown even an inkling of CTE interest. We're also making sure that we show diversity in our program. So there's women that are also trainers at the trade up event, and so they can see themselves in those positions and actually have one-on-one conversations with people in the field that look like them. Those are all super important. And as we reach other areas besides our trade up event, we also are working with employers. We're working with all of our partners. We work with RAP, for example, and we are some of our labor partners are those that are coming into these different programs and doing a day of activity or, those types of things. So we're making a presence where we can in all of the different spaces so that we can share the opportunity of being able to learn on the job and also earn a living wage while doing it.
Yep. That learn and earn model, right? That's what we're here. And the trade-up programs are amazing if anyone hasn't heard of them. It's hundreds of high school students across the whole county get to participate in these, and it's that hands-on learning, but in this case, hands-on career exploration, and they are a critical component. And if you ever want to see probably the most Costco pizza you'll ever see, that's the place to be. Hauling them in on carts, holy moly, that's really fun. Julie, let's hear from PUD. Utilities face unique workforce needs. So, how does Snohomish County PUD introduce and prepare individuals for careers in energy, infrastructure, and skilled trades through apprenticeship pathways?
Well, thank you for having me. When I was thinking about this, as far as preparing, I looked at things like the RAP program and other programs like that, but we definitely introduce students and the public to apprenticeship, different ways, and just opportunities at PUD in general, right? There's a lot of careers available at PUD, not just through apprenticeship. First of all, I think, we start at a young age, right? The elementary, middle school, high school. We have a public education program, and we have our education coordinators that will go to schools, and they work with students of all ages, teachers, the community. They provide in-school classroom lessons, little hands-on activities for students, get them excited about electricity and energy. They have information and videos on our website that teachers can use in their own classrooms. They coordinate field trips to job sites like our Woods Creek Hydro Project in Monroe. They teach workshops on topics such as solar energy, sustainable practices, and talk about potential STEM careers. Another example of exposing people and introducing them to utilities is our high voltage demonstration trailer, is our ARC trailer. So that is operated by Snohomish PUD linemen and substation wiremen. And through safety demonstrations, they simulate common situations that cause power outages, and they focus on safety and education. We bring our ARC trailer to different community events that we're able to go to. And examples include, we have our own energy block party at our downtown headquarters. And we also have the ARC trailer at our booth at the Evergreen State Fair. And as I said, we do participate in a lot of local events as well. And it's kind of exciting. People see the buzzing and, it's kind of, and they explain the why and, things to look out for. And so it's kind of cool and gets, if people are there, it might get them asking questions because there's journey level workers there that they can talk to about their career and what their job's like. And then to highlight our apprenticeship programs, we participate in skilled trades career fairs, a lot of career and college fairs as well, but I really like the skilled trades career fairs. The annual trade up events that are sponsored by the Labor Council and WorkSource helps with those too. We also partner with the Washington Alliance for Better Schools and the RAP program and coordinate site visits in which students can participate in hands-on activities. And they also have the opportunity to speak with journey level workers in the different trades at PUD. We really like working with, especially the RAP program, because it is specific to hands-on careers. We find a significant difference talking with those kids because they know they want to work in the tools, they want to work in the trades. The majority of them do, right? And they've been exposed to it and are excited to learn about it, ask great questions. So we're really happy to help partner with that program. And we also speak to high school independent living and career choices classes and CTE shop classes about apprenticeship opportunities. You'll get invites from different people, just teachers random, like they'll hear about it from another teacher. And so we try to go to those as much as possible just to share about the opportunities in apprenticeship after they graduate. And really what it boils down to me, it's just about planting that seed. The trades are called apprenticeship is the original 4-year degree, and trades careers are not less than jobs. A lot of times schools focus on, you're not good in school, you can't focus. Oh, what about a job in the trades? Well, yeah, maybe those students that don't like sitting in a classroom would be great in the trades, but the trades encompass a wide variety of people. And so it's not a less, like I said, not a less than job. It's just a different career path, right? Different path to get a career. And it's a path that doesn't end in college debt, is learning and earning from day one, and has job security.
Yeah, absolutely. And gonna do a little self shout out there for Snohomish STEM too. We've been longtime partners at Snohomish PUD, and just last month actually we had Snohomish PUD out talking to some middle school students of 360, how many we reached for the day, and they were talking about all of the kind of the hydropower. And then what's interesting with Snohomish PUD is you cover so many topics and so many departments. So that was last month, and then actually this week in a couple of days we also have someone coming to talk about IT and tech careers that are available. So interesting dynamics and lots of opportunities there. And I know you'll do a great job engaging the public and the community. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Erin, let's jump back to you on this. So shifting gears a little bit, employer industry engagement. What motivates small and mid-sized manufacturers to sponsor apprentices? And what mentoring and onboarding practices are most consistently lead to success?
Yeah, great, thank you. Majority of the AJAC training agents fall under that small to mid-sized description. So our programs are available to all advanced manufacturing employers. We started in aerospace, but we've expanded and we work in the broader manufacturing sectors. And employers can join us regardless of company size, their subsector, or union affiliation. Being nonprofit, we work with both union and non-union shops. We are, establishing an internal apprenticeship program for a company is time consuming and can be quite costly, especially when it comes to the technical portion, the technical training portion, or technical instruction portion, I say. So AJAC, being the longstanding registered apprenticeship program that we are, we handle a majority of the administrative requirements to, put forth the apprenticeship program internally as well, for those companies. We provide frameworks and resources to track the on-the-job training progress for our 13+ occupations. And our college accredited curriculum was developed and updated, and is updated constantly, by subject matter experts, dedicated employers, and our instructors, all of whom come from industry and have the crucial knowledge and relevant experience to pass down to their students. We partner with many colleges across the state, of course, and since we're in Snohomish County here, I want to shout out to our Everett Community College partners, and we love working with them. We are, our apprentices are encouraged to continue getting their degrees, their AA degrees when they, during or while they complete the AJAC program as well. So those are, very important components to what we have to offer. But ultimately, employers look at AJAC as a retention and training tool. A tool that happens to be little to no cost. Tuition is 50% reduced thanks to state and grant funding. And the cost of that does default to the apprentice. So roughly 75% or more of our employers do choose to either cover that cost or offer tuition reimbursement. So for the most part, this is a free program for many of the apprentices. Employers see increased productivity and even enhanced innovation as, apprentices bring in new, fresh perspectives to an often aging workforce. Employer benefits include things like online onboarding, mentorship matters training, where we kind of train the trainer. We provide best communication practices for those who are mentoring the apprentices. We offer OJT consultations if requested. And even more recently, we've established a cohort model, which means having 8 to 10 people from one company but that allows for far more customization and tailoring the programs we have to the needs of that specific company. And that's been a big success for some of our larger programs that are larger companies that want to train on site at a different time and day than what we usually offer our courses. And then again, that training, the tailoring of the curriculum can be focused in on what their specific needs are. So it's been, employers, they're coming out more and more. They realize the need for internal training, and they realize the need to provide other options and stepping stones for their employees to grow from within and really want to stay with them. And so this is another great opportunity for them to allow for for HR folks to work with us, and then allow that internal training and upward growth for their employees.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I was just at one of your meetings the other month, and if anyone gets a chance to go to an AJAC meeting, especially if you get to hear from the employers that have these custom apprenticeship programs for them and their employees, highly recommend it. They always are singing the praises, and they're investing in their future workforce and through these apprenticeship programs, and they're amazing. So thanks for sharing about that. Matt, shifting gears back to you here. So AMSC partners closely with regional manufacturers, including Boeing suppliers. How do you keep training aligned with rapidly evolving technologies like robotics, automation, and composite materials? Oh, one second. I think we got the all mute going again. There we go.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, employer partnership, I mean, that's us, because that's how we started back in 2010, a collaboration with Snohomish County, the Boeing Company, the Aerospace Future Alliance, the union, and Edmonds College basically started the Washington Aerospace Training and Research Center as a direct pipeline for Boeing workers in order to keep Boeing building the 777X or the 777 program in Everett. And so that is kind of the blueprint which we are following for all of our pre-apprenticeship and short-term fast-track training. And we're keeping tabs on that with constant attendance of employer roundtables, site visits. We are visiting our partners; they are coming to us, therefore, we're learning about any kind of production changes, any kind of skills gaps they're experiencing, or especially upcoming technologies. Yes, Boeing is our biggest partner today, and I'm in daily, weekly, and bi-weekly meetings with Boeing to really stay in touch with them. Not everybody maybe knows that outside of just training any student in aerospace skills, we're also training Boeing incumbent workers by having them basically come to our facility here at Painfield Airport, but also having a team of instructors on site at Boeing teaching classes to Boeing employees. So that's kind of a mandate which came out of that original partnership. We adjust our curriculum based on what employers are telling us and the needs they have. And what is maybe relevant down the road. We have advisory committees, for instance, for every program, not just for aerospace, for maritime, for robotics automation, for the CAP, the pre-apprenticeship for construction, and for our creative technology program. Our industry partners, they sit on these boards, they have representatives. And again, when they tell us about any kind of opportunities, we discuss it. Those opportunities might be something like coordinate metrology, which is kind of a field which is important, but there's maybe not very many people who need that training. So for us as a school, it has to be kind of sustainable down the road. So we can't just train one cohort of 10 and then that's it. That would be cost prohibitive, but still we'd like to listen and work with them. Maybe we can embed some of those required skills in our existing programs. Hands-on is also key here, combining the online or the lecture with the hands-on. And so in our assembly mechanic, electromechanic, composite, and tooling technician labs, we try to embed all these skills and consistently train our instructors of these changes and send them to training opportunities. We try to buy new equipment if we can afford it and if it's necessary. We try to make it stackable in a way, because it's the apprenticeship. It's not the end. It's the beginning. It's the start of a career. And so same with our programs. We want to get people into jobs, and then these jobs hopefully lead to careers and are not a dead end situation. And speaking of which, for instance, having a direct alignment with an industry partner like Boeing in a pre-employment training program, it's called the Boeing BPET program, allows us or allows our graduates to skip even the interview and get directly into a job if Boeing is hiring for that job code. And I think, that's huge. And that's a huge incentive for our students. And again, we try to stay aligned with industry and talk to them constantly, so that whatever they change, we're changing with them.
Yeah, requires that partnership you're talking about. And I heard multiple touch points, multiple opportunities for businesses to partner and engage on possible training programs through you. So thank you. Councilmember Nehring, what are the best ways that schools and employers can coordinate job shadows, site visits, pre-apprenticeship experiences, so that students can get meaningful exposure without overwhelming host sites? Maybe not hundreds of students visiting at the every minute, no?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, first, I'll just say it's been great to hear from these other programs, all of which have been just fantastic partners for the RAP program. And so it's exciting to hear about all the great things happening in this space. I think that these sorts of direct exposure to career professionals and job sites are exactly the kinds of experiences that staff at the RAP program want to provide to students. I would argue that these experiences are just as valuable as, the training that happens in the various core competencies. So they're definitely not a burden on the program. I think they're really critical. And I think it's also important just to find that right balance for each individual job site or industry partner. Certain types of the year are going to be better for some employers. With other employers, it might be a certain day of the week. And so it's not a one size fits all. But my biggest takeaway would be just encouraging program staff, students, and employers to be flexible and to keep the end goal front and center. And that's giving youth more opportunities to improve their futures. One thing I'll also add just real briefly, and Charlotte made me think of it when she was talking about the importance of getting, especially getting women more involved in the trades. The RAP program does an annual Girls Build event, and that's going to be coming up on December 4th from 11 to 1:30 p.m. in Marysville. So I'll link the info in the chat here. But that's an awesome event to see tradeswomen coming in and teaching girls who are prospective RAP students about future careers in the trades and all the great things that come along with that. And so I would encourage you to attend if you're able to. Thanks.
Yes, and I've been to a Girls Build before, and it's an amazing experience, and definitely relies on a lot of industry partners who are participating, showing up, and helping students practice swinging the hammer and working with cement. So thank you for that shout out. Charlotte, let's hear from the labor side of things here. How do you build trust between employers and unions to ensure training standards, safety, and fair wages remain balanced with industry needs? Are we all muted again? There we go. Okay.
Yes.
Whoever's on muting is on top of mute today, so thank you.
I appreciate the question. A lot of the work that is done to build trust is communication. It's those relationship building exercises that we all, are super important. But on the flip side of that, you know, when we're engaging with employers, employers are interlocked with our unions, and you know, they sit on our training boards so that we're getting firsthand information what the employers are needing. So those strong partnerships, whether it be with PUD or, you know, community transit or those types of things, we're hearing those things firsthand. We also are very good about being involved with all of the workforce development across the state. So we're hearing firsthand from employers in that space as well. You know, yeah, we also, as far as training and safety standards, I mean, there's state standards, there's a lot of, you know, L&I does a lot to put safety standards in place. And so we make sure that those are all incorporated into, you know, whether it's PLAs that we're doing to bring apprentices on, which are PLAs or project labor agreements or community workforce agreements, where a lot of places it's required in spaces, it's required to have 15% apprenticeship utilization. And so, you know, there are plenty of apprentices out there that are eager to get to work and provide that opportunity. So, and one of the things from a K-12 perspective, a lot of our students these days have lived with parents who have had significant college debt. And so our students today are very aware of the financial constraints of going to college. So it is one of those things where people are really looking to the trade. So where we can find those opportunities to work together. There's no reason we shouldn't have apprentices on job sites.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely important to hear about all of the pathways that lead to these high wage, high demand careers, and apprenticeships is definitely a critical piece of that. You know, I do see a question in the chat here. I want to put this, so this is open for everyone. A question from Jan. For refugees where English may be a second language, are all of these opportunities available? So does anyone have any opportunities they could speak to with languages and or with additional languages? That'd be tricky.
It's definitely a conversation that we're having. You know, accessibility is very important. But yes, you know, we do have some limitations just based on you know, funding and available and bandwidth. But we do have some, you know, major hopes to be able to offer some of our programs. You know, probably starting with our program or production machine operator and food processing machine operators in other languages. Spanish, you know, obviously comes to mind. And then, but we do partner and work with like Lighthouse for the Blind, and we do offer, you know, we do try to offer accessibility opportunities for as much as we can. But we absolutely are aware that this can cause limitations, especially for non-English speakers. So it's something that we are working towards.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. Charlotte, and then Matt.
I know that a lot of our union affiliates have bilingual opportunities, and we are hiring a lot more bilingual people so that we're able to have those conversations in multiple languages. And so that is definitely a direction that a lot of our trainers are going towards, is making sure that we have staff that can help with those conversations.
Thank you. Matt?
Yeah, we had some really good experience with that for our pre-apprenticeship for construction. We had actually a grant which helped us to embed a ESL teacher into our cohort to really help our students with language barriers to overcome them, and was extremely successful. That teacher actually came from Edmonds College, who we contracted, so to speak. Unfortunately, currently we do not have the funds to do that. We try to cooperate with Letty because Letty, you know, has a lot of resources for at no cost for folks who need those types of services. And then in return, we work with them as far as getting them into our programs. So definitely Letty would be a good resources, I think.
Yeah, that's a great reminder there. And we have one more question in chat. And also, let me just do a quick reminder. Anyone on chat, if you have any questions, please answer, or please answer if you can. How about submit any questions you have in the chat, and we will answer as many as we can. But I see one more question in chat here from Kate. So many of the programs discussed are focused on high school students, which is great. We love that. Which programs might work with non-high school students besides AJAC and AMSC? And I think we've got a few. So who wants to jump in on this one? So looking for non-high school students. So AJAC works with employers, and so that's going to be predominantly non-high school, although you do have some youth and pre-apprenticeships.
Yeah, we have a youth program, but most of our programs are in the over 18 realm, and our apprentices can range from our adult apprentices can range from 18 to 75. It's a wide range, and what we can provide for persons with barriers to employment or anything else, we have lots of opportunities there. But I'm going to talk about a little bit more in my next question.
Yeah. Thanks for setting us up there, Kate. We've set us up for our next question here. But Matt, AMSC, the Water Center, these again are predominantly non-high school programs.
Yes, all of our programs are basically, the only prerequisites are 8th grade math and English skills and 18 years old. And so the average age of our students is, I would say, in the mid-20s. It can vary a little bit, but they're usually all older folks. And not so much high school graduates, even though it works for many people in different types in their lives.
Yeah, and Julie, I think. Oh, go ahead, Charlotte.
I was just going to, the average apprentice at this point is still, I believe, 26, 27 in years of age, and so from our programs, if you're an apprentice jumping in right after high school into one of our programs, you're not missing out on almost $1 million in wages and benefits over the course of that time. And most of our programs are 5 year, 4 to 5 years. And so, yes, there are some pre-apprenticeship stuff that you can do. I think, sheet metal, and if you have kind of that 17, 18 work, but for the most part, we're all over 18. Some of them are even a little bit older if they're working with heavy equipment, because there's some restrictions there as well around large buses and trucks and CDLs that are required and that kind of thing. So there's some additional rules and regulations that fall into play.
Yeah.
But you'll hear, I think, over across the board, you're hearing that a lot of us are focused on the youth side of it more from an exploratory and getting kids interested so that when they are coming out of high school, we can get them sooner than that 26 or 27. Because there is a need for those skilled workers, and having them at a younger age is always better.
Yeah, definitely about the pipeline, right?
Exactly.
We don't want to wait till they're 26 to tell them about apprenticeship opportunities. And so there's even high school, how can we get a little earlier in high school? So middle school, high school, those are great opportunities to start those conversations. And Julie, I'm tossing to you real quick before we move on to the next question here. PUD also similarly, it's going to be predominantly 18 and up and adults.
Right. Yes. We just this last year, Everett Schools had a program where we did job shadows, where students would spend 90 hours job shadowing different areas. We had one student that was an entry helper, which is a great pathway into our lineman apprenticeship. And so he worked with the crews and got to see a little bit real world what that was like. But yeah, as far as hiring 18 and older, high school grad or equivalent, other programs for adults that I am aware of, not super familiar with, is the CAP program. There's a construction pre-apprenticeship at Edmonds College. I think it's a fairly new program. And then a new is apprenticeship and non-traditional employment for women. They're based out of Tukwila, though, but there are programs out there for adults.
Yeah, and shout out to, I think I see an Everett Public Schools logo on here. So the Everett Career Link is the 90-hour summer program we're talking about. There's our internship opportunities, there's some job shadowing, there's some mentorship programs. So quick shout out for them for that. Julie, let's stay with you for this last question on this section here. PUD's apprenticeship model supports long-term workforce planning. Hey, the pipeline we're talking about. What lessons have you learned about keeping apprentices engaged and promoting from within to fill future leadership roles?
Well, at PUD, when we hire our apprentices, if they're successful in their apprenticeship, they're going to move straight into a full-time position in that specific trade. So they don't have to go look for a job after they're done. They can stay with us. So that's incentivizing, I think. And I think the key to a successful apprenticeship program is having skilled and dedicated journey level workers and managers that support and are engaged in the success and safety of our apprentices. At Snohomish PUD, we're really lucky to have that combination. It's very common in apprenticeship for journey level workers to, pass on their trade. They take pride in their trade. They want to pass on their knowledge. And our journey level workers are the same, right? So apprentices tend to find, as far as keeping apprentices engaged, they tend to find one or two journey level workers that they click with and connect with. There tends to be then a mentorship relationship is formed. And so you have the seasoned worker looking out for, the newbie, coaching them, letting them know, hey, you're doing great here. You need to work on this. Or, hey, I heard you had an attitude with this foreman. Let's watch that. So, it's kind of a good, peer-to-peer, even though they're not a direct peer, they're, at a higher level, but eventually they'll be a peer, right? When the apprentice is done with their apprenticeship. Apprentices also, to keep them engaged, that we get monthly evaluations. They're given regular feedback about how they're doing, if they're doing well, what they need to work on. As they achieve their months and hours in each step, pass a skills test, receive good performance evaluations, passing their night school classes, they will advance to the next step in their program, which comes with a pay raise. That's always incentivizing, right? And with that pay raise becomes more responsibility. And so this keeps them engaged as they're striving to get to the next step and complete their apprenticeship. We have a really strong safety culture at PUD, which gives employees stop work authority, empowering apprentices to see something, say something. This wasn't always the case. Before it was like apprentices were, be there, but be quiet, do what you're told. And, there's still some of that because they're learning, right? But if they think something's unsafe, they're encouraged to speak up and say something, and the crews embrace that. And this helps keep them feeling engaged and like they're part of the team and part of the crew. And that their opinion matters, right? Their voice matters. As far as promoting from within for leadership roles, in the last few years, our HR talent development and business readiness teams have partnered with the various departments in our apprenticeships and field, really just a lot of the field work and even customer service too. A lot of the union positions are moving to this FIT program, foreman in training program, or lead in training in some of our other areas. For apprenticeship, in the mid-90s, there was like a 10-year gap. It was pretty common in a lot of industry because there was a surplus of journey level workers in our type of work. And so there was a little gap. And then PUD leadership, early 2000s, started looking at future retirements. I'm like, oh, we're going to be in trouble here in a little while when all these baby boomers start retiring, right? So, and they had overwhelming support of IBEW Local 77. That's our union that supports our field folks. About half our company are members of IBEW Local 77. And so they partnered with management and brought our apprenticeship program back up in 2004. And we've been hiring fairly steadily ever since, mostly, like I said, due to those baby boomer retirements. And what we started seeing in these retirements is that journeymen moving into foreman roles only after being journey level for 3 to 5 years, which prior to that, they were journeymen for 10 to 15 years. So they had a lot more time in the tools, right, to feel confident and comfortable being a leader. So the new foreman had been asked, had kind of said, hey, we need more training. And so hence the FIT program, where we partnered with the union and came up with a program that met all the requirements. They attend leadership classes, receive training on the various programs and tools each of the work groups uses. It's really customized. It's a kind of a overall program, but it's customized also to each department and their needs. They're assigned a foreman mentor, and they actually lead a crew and get evaluated by that foreman during that. So it gives them some real world experience before formally taking on a leadership or foreman role. And then it also helps them decide if it's a good fit for them. We've had folks go through the program and say, oh, it's a great program, but this is not for me. I don't want to be a leader, at least at this point in my career, but at least they have the skills to take that role in the future if they decide to. And so, once they've got the, pass the FIT program, they just have to be a journey level worker for at least a year. They can bid on getting trained. And then once they have 3 years in, they can bid on a foreman role, and it's all by seniority. So the senior most qualified is going to get the bid. So, but anyway, that's been a really successful program, and we're really proud of it. And we keep expanding it as other departments find out about the success and say, hey, I think that would be good for our lead roles or whatever. So it's been kind of fun.
Love that mentoring built into the workplace. That's amazing. So thanks for leading on that. We're coming up on time here. I want to see if I can get maybe 2 more questions in. Matt, we'll go to you first. Shifting to sustainability outcomes in the future, manufacturing is evolving quickly with automation and AI. How is AMSC updating its training model to ensure graduates are future ready? Any new programs you're adding?
Thank you, Alyssa. That's a very, very timely question. And I've been attending a lot of symposiums and conferences to really figure out how AI is moving into manufacturing and how that affects our training. And so I have to admit that basic math skills and showing up on time are still trumping AI knowledge. However, building digital literacy into our programs is happening, and so we just invested into tablets and laptops and basically give them to our students so that they learn how to log into employers' databases, how they navigate, how they then download digital prints, CAD drawings, so to speak, instead of working with paper CAD drawings. Our new program for robotics and manufacturing is in its first cohort. And so we're pretty excited about that. It's an 8-week program with 4 weeks of online lecture and 4 weeks of hands-on training in the lab. And it's basically needed because more and more manufacturers, even small businesses, are now looking at adapting automation onto their shop floors. All those things are, because of AI, are becoming cheaper, becoming easier to run, faster to operate. And so our students need to learn how to operate, troubleshoot, and maintain those automated systems. And so, again, everything we teach is foundational skills, entry level. That's why our programs are so short, but it's definitely moving into that direction. Emphasizing on problem solving instead of memorization. With AI and automation, routine tasks are basically being taken on by the machine, and so that makes the human more the critical thinker and the problem solver as before. And so our labs, for instance, for the tooling technician, really teaches that, because the students for their capstones, they get a drawing and they have to develop on their own how to build a jig and fixture with guidance of the instructors. So it's really more thinking than just following some instruction from a document. And then, of course, quality assurance. There's so many new techniques out there with vision systems, taking on quality control and making it more safer than, you know, having the human eye look at something. And we haven't started implementing anything like that yet. However, I'm certainly, you know, looking at that and trying to figure out what can we offer to support that new phase. And, you know, again, our goal is to train our students for the job that we'll have tomorrow. And so automation AI is going to be there, and we make them aware of that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Okay, we'll do one question for everyone here, and then we'll sign off for the day. So for everyone, we'll start with Councilmember Nehring, Erin, Charlotte, Julie, and Matt. You'll close us out. If you could share one key recommendation with employers, educators, policymakers to strengthen apprenticeship programs in Snohomish County, what would it be? Councilmember Nehring, please take it away. Oh, and I should say brief remarks. Sorry, I'm going to close this out here. You muted. Here we go. Okay.
There we go. Thank you. Well, thanks again for having us. So the question was one thing we can all do to strengthen apprenticeship programs.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the strengths we have in Snohomish County, and this is true beyond apprenticeships, but especially in this space, is the collaboration we have. You know, school districts, labor and industry, all the partners that are at the table, and it's made Snohomish County really strong in this area. So I think just doubling down and continuing in that vein, how can we all work together to share resources and promote these sorts of opportunities for people of all ages? You know, I'll give just one really quick example. The RAP program had to turn away students because we had over twice as many applicants as our spaces available. And so while that's a good problem to have, it is still a problem. And so how we can work together to make sure that there's more opportunities available for individuals throughout the county, I think we want to continue that.
Thank you so much, Erin.
Yeah, you know, just this goes for all companies, not just Snohomish County, but focus on that as well. You know, every company wishes they could hire and find that, you know, maintenance or machinist with 4+ years experience already, you know, but reminding themselves that the job market's competitive and those people often have jobs already and they're happy with their employers. So really knowing that you have to be open to grow, you know, promoting from within, hiring or training from within, using resources like AJAC, you know, to lean on us and help us help yourself to grow that your current workforce to, you know, in 4 years you will have that 4-year plus, you know, experienced person. So just be more willing, you know, open to hire those entry-level people and grow them yourselves. We have lots of tools to help you do that. And also I'll probably do what Matt's going to say as well. We need employers to participate in the advisory councils and committees on high schools and colleges. You know, they're here, they want to, we and everybody, we all want to help grow that or fix that, the workforce pipeline that's missing. You know, what skills and training is required to really hire those entry-level people to move them forward and make them successful. So, you know, everyone's working on curriculum and opportunities. And so we need the voices of the employers to participate in the things like those advisory councils. Be present, share your feedback, because that's how, you know, we work on your pain points. So that's a really important piece.
That's how we work together, right? Charlotte, one thing from you?
Just piggybacking on what Erin and Nate said, you know, make your voices known, and let us know what you're needing. The other piece I would say is don't be afraid to provide the opportunity. Create job opportunities for apprentices within your organizations. We're here to support and help, you know, but we need those slots because apprenticeship ultimately is learn while you earn. So create those job opportunities for these people to come in and learn and become those 4+ year experts that you're wanting.
Perfect. Julie, one quick thought, and then Matt, make sure you have your quick thought ready.
More RAP programs.
More RAP programs, yes.
Well, because, you know, they only, help a handful of schools, right? There's only a handful of schools that partner with them, and probably, you know, due to location, you know, transportation issues, things like that. So it would be nice to have them kind of scattered throughout the county. I know that it's probably expensive, but that's my more CTE classes, more RAP programs.
That's
Get the
great.
students exposed early on.
Thank you. Matt?
Alyssa, this is my favorite question, so I have prepared a specific answer.
Okay.
And yes, Erin, employers are the key for apprenticeships, and we need more employers to offer them. However, to convince employer to offer apprenticeships, we need to invest in stronger on-ramps for people who aren't apprenticeship ready. And one of the biggest gaps is that many people who would thrive in apprenticeships aren't prepared to enter. And pre-apprenticeship and short-term training need stable funding so learners can build basic math, shop safety, digital skills, and hands-on experience before stepping into these registered programs. Employers benefit because they get candidates who show up prepared with realistic expectations and foundational skills to succeed. In other words, having the soft skills every employer is asking for. And, if we want stronger apprenticeships, we need to invest just as much in the pathway leading into them. The more prepared people are on day one, the better they perform and the stronger our talent pipeline down the road. So thank you very much.
I love that. Thank you. And I'm going to do a quick recap. I just heard, recap, invest in the pathway. We heard a lot of hands-on experience, apprenticeships. Yay. I'm with you on that. Employer connections, partnerships, collaborations, opportunities, planting the seed, diversity in our programs, a lot about our future workforce, and of course, Snohomish County Manufacturing Academy. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Matt, Councilmember Nehring, Erin, Charlotte, and Julie for sharing your insights and for the incredible work that each of you do to build Snohomish County's workforce of the future. And thank you again to our sponsors, the Port of Everett and Snohomish County PUD, for supporting this coffee chat session and helping make these important discussions possible. Apprenticeships don't just train workers, they empower people, strengthen communities, and drive economic resilience. So before wrapping up, here's a quick look ahead. Our next coffee chat, environmental resilience, protecting Washington's growing future, will be on Tuesday, December 9th, where we will discuss how our region can prepare for growth while protecting the natural resources that make Washington such a great place to live. Things like sustainability, land use, and balancing development with environmental stewardship. It's going to be a really thoughtful conversation. We hope you'll join us. Next, on December 10th, please join EASC at Imagine Children's Museum in Everett for our 2025 legislative kickoff, presented by Boeing in partnership with Herald Media, North Sound Media, and WSU Everett. This annual event connects business leaders and elected officials to discuss key issues shaping Snohomish County's economy, workforce development, infrastructure, and emerging opportunities. Don't miss this chance to engage directly with legislators and help share our region's priorities for the year ahead. I heard some great ideas today. Okay, so to register for all of these events or to learn more about Economic Alliance Snohomish County and our work, please visit economicalliancesc.org or scan the QR code on your screen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's go to the gallery view. All right, so we can see everyone's smiling faces and clapping on screen. I love that. Let's raise our mugs to the partnerships and community spirit that keeps Snohomish County safe, healthy, and thriving. Here's to everybody, and take care, and we'll catch you next time.